Hi everybody, here are suggestions on how to work from home from engineers that have worked from home for over a decade. My name is Sam Rubenzer. I'm the founder of Force Consulting. I am both a licensed structural engineer and a professional engineer, and I've led this team of structural engineers, again, with no permanent offices, all virtual offices across the country. So if we work virtually, you might be wondering where we work. We have offices in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, Chicago and the suburbs of Chicago, suburbs of Denver, Jonesboro, Arkansas, Ripon, Wisconsin, and even an office in Nazareth, Jerusalem. So for this short presentation, here's what we're going to talk about. Some work from home basics, how to communicate from home, some suggestions on file access from your office files at your home location, and then lastly, some software licensing options for those structural engineering programs. Some suggestions on how to work from home. Checking in with your coworkers, supervisors, checking in with your employees. I mean, as much communication as you can do certainly helps working from home. There's some four extreme habits of highly successful teams. One of them is turn on your webcam and leave it on. I don't necessarily think that that would be helpful to have it on all day, but maybe have it on as you're solving problems, kind of collaborating, working together, even if there's some dead time. And then certainly over communicate, over communicate, over communicate. I don't think you could say that enough. It's hard working from home. It's hard to have as much communication as you need. Setting aside a specific place for work, that includes like getting dressed and actually going to that place, making some sort of a stoplight. You can see in the picture on the right, I actually have a small little sign that I created years ago that's got me through a bunch of interruptions over the years. So making some sort of a sign to let people know that you are working, and then create some sort of a daily schedule, create some sort of a time where you can make sure that you are working at that time. You maybe schedule in some breaks. And as an example, here's my schedule for an 8 to 10 hour working day. And then the last of my general suggestions, try to enjoy the flexibility. I mean, it can be a little bit disrupting at some times to have different interruptions during the day, but try to enjoy those interruptions. I mean, they're going to be usually coming from maybe some loved ones or from people that you don't talk to that often. But try to enjoy that flexibility, enjoy some of those disruptions, and then, of course, lastly, try to stay out of the kitchen. Okay, so one of the most important things about being able to work from home is being able to communicate. The first step is buying a noise canceling headset with a mute button. That way you can listen in on those video conference calls and not have a bunch of background sounds from your home office be broadcast to everyone. Next, you can make use of free and inexpensive technology for video calling, for team messaging, for managing to-do lists, and for scheduling, budgeting, time and expense tracking. Lastly, you need to make sure that you can communicate with your network. I found that LinkedIn is a great tool for this, as it always has everybody's up-to-date contact information, and you can certainly send them messages directly within the site. Some of the online programs that give you video calling would be JoinMe, Zoom, WebEx, Skype, Microsoft Teams, GoToMeeting, Slack, and FaceTime. Certainly, this isn't an all-inclusive list. And personally, at Force, we like to use Slack because of its integration between video calling and screen sharing, and also messages that you can communicate for different projects. On the topic of team messages, again, we at Force like to use Slack, but there's other programs like HipChat, Google Hangouts, Microsoft Teams that also offer um, options for messaging for different projects, for different categories. that I'd also consider. Managing to-do lists for projects can also be a difficult task when working remotely. We use programs like Monday or Asana here at Force, but there's other tools like Teamwork, Trello, and others that could work as well. And again, for people that are considering long-term work from home situations, looking at programs like Forecast and Harvest offer scheduling, budgeting, time and expense tracking that can be very useful for engineers. So the next very important aspect of working from home is file access. Here engineers I think are going to have to ramp up some of their tech skills. Here what we want to look at is we want to look at programs that sync files on your computer with other employees, co-workers, or maybe even your boss using cloud programs. And when we use these programs, what we want to do is we don't want to just send a single file. Again, these tools can be used for so much more. Syncing files from your computer to the cloud, which then syncs them with other people's computers almost instantaneously. This really does help keep everybody on the same team up to date with all the project files that you might be working on. So Dropbox is certainly one of the options. It's one of the more popular options and certainly a program that works well for sharing files. And again, Dropbox offers features for teams that allow syncing files from your computer to other people's computers. Similar to Dropbox, we at Force use Box. Box is a program that really does help keep files organized very well in folder trees that I would use typically on my computer. And all of those files don't have to be synced. You can select certain folders to be synced with your teammates at other locations. So again, Box is the tool that we use here at Force. Another program is Microsoft OneDrive. This is a program that just about everybody with Microsoft Office has accessible to them. It's a tool that we don't often use here at Force, but certainly because we have Microsoft, we do have this option as well. Google Drive is another tool. This is a program that's used a little bit more on a personal level for most people, but also works very good to share files within an office. The last tool that I'm going to cover in terms of file access would be iCloud. Now iCloud can be something that is fairly intuitive for people with Mac computers, iPhones, and iPads. So here at Force, since we all use Apple computers, this is something that is readily available to us to share both internally and with external clients. The last few things to consider when accessing files from home is if you have an Apple computer but need to work from home and you only have Windows programs. Programs like Parallels allow Windows to run on an Apple Mac computer, which can be very convenient for people. Other things like remote access for a computer that might be in a different location or from a smart device. You actually have two different options here that we use at Force. Parallels Access and LogMeIn allows different users in different locations to access computers. That could be in any location as long as they have the service turned on. Next, I'll turn my attention to structural engineering program licensing options. We certainly have single user licenses that people can use, especially if only one person needs to access the license. Some engineering firms have network licenses, but those network licenses are going to require computers to VPN into those networks at an office location. And really some of those VPNs are going to be limited by some of the home connections and internet speeds that people have from different individual locations. So some of the options that we prefer to use here at Force are cloud and server-based licensing, where the computer that's looking to access the license simply needs to ping a server that likely is hosted by one of the software vendors. The last thing that I would say about licensing options is please just be careful. Just looking for a subscription or a certain licensing option might be useful now, but make sure that you set a reminder for maybe turning off some of these subscriptions if we don't have a long-term need for those subscriptions. Next, we'll look at individual program options for accessing software from home. We'll first start with RISA. RISA does have multiple different options that you can use. Here at Force, we like to use the cloud and server-based licensing that RISA offers. It only allows you to get the licenses that you need, and if someone else is using the license, you'll get a simple message that says that license is not available. It's very nice because it doesn't allow it for any overages, and you can simply communicate with your colleagues to see when they might be done using the license. If you have any questions about RISA, please contact them at info@risa.com. Next, we'll look at the Bentley software programs. Here, they use a program called the Connection Client to allow for software licenses to be distributed to different team members. Recently, Bentley has came out with programs to limit software use, but simply I would warn everyone to please be careful with the Bentley licensing. One of the things that we've heard from users over the years is overages can be costly and hard to manage, but I think Bentley has certainly implemented some tools recently that can help with that. For assistance, certainly you can contact Bentley at support@bentley.com. Next, we'll look at Tekla Structural Designer and TEDS. With the 2020 release of Tekla software, there now is cloud-based licensing available. Licensing that we haven't yet tested at Force, but certainly sounds promising. If you have any questions, please contact tekla.support.us@trimble.com. For CSI software programs, they have also had tools in place for some time to access licensing remotely. They can be standalone licenses or network licenses that can be checked in and checked out by different individuals. If you have any questions about CSI software options, please contact them at csiamerica.com/sales/buy. With ADAPT software, we also have options for cloud licensing, or again, if you have standalone licenses that are located on a network, you're going to have to access those licenses via VPN, which I said before can be a little bit troublesome. Certainly, if you have any questions or if you need any assistance, you can always contact them at support@adaptsoft.com. Finally, two other tools that engineers often use, Bluebeam and Autodesk. Bluebeam Studio is great for accessing PDF files remotely, sharing markups on those files, and everything that's going to be completely available as soon as you make the markups. Bluebeam is also offering a 90-day access to review for any existing customer free of charge, so that's certainly a nice option from Bluebeam. Also from Autodesk, AutoCAD, or other products, Autodesk is offering free and extended access to cloud collaboration products at this time. So both Bluebeam and Autodesk giving us nice tools and options for those drawing files we have to access. So in conclusion, for all the different software programs that we've covered today, and the many other programs that are out there, remote access is certainly possible for our structural engineers. If you have any trouble, certainly contact the support or sales team for different software products if you like more options. So I want to encourage engineers to learn and consider the most efficient tools that are available, whether it's the structural engineering software programs. Look at the different licensing options that you might have available for all the different programs that you might use. But going back to the beginning, learn to communicate with your colleagues, your boss, your coworkers, your clients. Try to communicate with them often. Use those video conferencing tools. A lot of them are free to use or very low cost right now. But also look at different messaging services and project management tools that are available online, and really do help everybody kind of keep up to speed on all the different projects. But then really, I just want to encourage everyone to try to plan your day out, try to manage your time, considering all the different interruptions that you might have in a new work from home environment. But then also plan to be flexible with your schedule, your coworkers' schedules, your client schedules, and then certainly with the schedules of all the different family members or others that might be working in the same location as you in this work from home environment. That might be new to many different people. So try to be flexible. So to wrap up this quick presentation, again, if you have any questions, please send us an email at homeoffice@forsei.com. hotwork.com. We'll try to answer any questions that you might have. We'll also perhaps connect you to, if it's a software vendor, we'll try to connect you with a person there that can answer your question. But we'll try to do anything that we can to help all of you that might be working from home offices or in environments that you're not typically used to working in. Any suggestions and tips that we can offer you, we'll try to share them with you. So good luck, everyone.